welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about contact. I'm going to try and give you as much information as I can. It was one of my biggest questions when I first started fostering, sort of like, you want to know how often, when, where, who, how, and nobody can answer it because it's completely different for every single case. But now I've been doing it for almost 2 years, I feel like there are some things I can prepare you for and explain in a little bit more detail with regards to contact. So contact means literally the meeting of looked after child and their birth family. So this can happen all different frequencies. So in my experience, the younger the child, the more contact they will have. If you are doing a short-term placement, then contact will most definitely be more frequent. And I'm talking that I know people with babies who have contact 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. So it can be quite intense at times. Once you get onto a long-term placement, when care proceedings are all done and dusted, I believe the main aim or the main goal is to get contact down to about 6 times per year, generally. Everything I'm saying in this video is generally speaking, and what is most common, let's say. But every single child's case is completely different in regards to contact. There are no rules, rhymes, it's completely different. Contact is generally face-to-face. It can be letterbox contact or telephone contact. If contact is face-to-face, there's 2 different types, supervised and unsupervised. Supervised contact usually will take place at a contact centre. Who's ever been to a contact centre? I didn't think I'd ever seen one, didn't think they'd existed. Now I'm a foster carer and now I've been to them. I know that I drive past a contact centre, I'd say probably like once a month. They just look like nurseries or like Sure Start centres, schools, sort of those types of buildings. Generally when you walk in, they'll be colourful and there'll be like Winnie the Pooh on the wall and toys, but they are still quite a dreary place to be. I don't know whether that's because I know what it's there for, but yeah, they're not the most warming places, let's say. But I've not been to everyone in the country, so you might be watching this thinking, oh, my contact centre is really nice. So yeah, completely everyone will be different. Contact can also take place out in the community. That's what they'll call it, out in the community. So that means maybe at McDonald's, maybe at soft play, something like that. A contact worker will supervise contact should it need to be supervised. Initially, if you're going through court proceedings, that contact worker's job will be to gather evidence. So they will be looking at the relationship between the family and the child, sometimes doing assessments and things like that, just to make sure that the outcome that is reached is the best possible outcome with the child's best interests at the heart of it. Sometimes social workers will come and supervise contact in order to do the same sort of thing. Sometimes you'll be asked to supervise contact. This is true. Only if it's like there's no risk involved, it's all completely safe and fine, and you've been able to create a relationship with the birth family, you feel comfortable doing it, they feel comfortable doing it, then you may be asked to supervise contact. Again, this can be at a contact centre, can be out in the community. I know some foster carers who have actually facilitated contact in their own homes. Again, don't listen to this and be scared that you're going to have these birth families in and out of your house. Doesn't work like that. Few and far between, and it will be mutually agreed and there'll be a reason behind it, and it will have got to a point where that is okay. Back to frequency of contact. So, like I say, it will change throughout your fostering experience depending on what children you have, but children's contact arrangements will change also. If parents aren't turning up or something like that, or if it is deeming to be significantly a negative experience for the children, they will look at reducing contact. Sometimes they will put a contract in place around contact, so they might say to parents that you have to arrive 30 minutes before your allotted time. If you aren't here by that time, we will cancel contact. That's to avoid disappointing the children, upsetting everybody, and making it a really unpleasant experience. They may put a contract around behaviours and what is deemed appropriate play and things like that with the children during contact, appropriate conversations to make sure that it is an enjoyable experience for the children. It is quite an unnatural experience, especially with a stranger there looking at you, and it's in these strange environments. Quite often the rooms are quite small. So yeah, it is an odd one, and until you've done it a couple of times, it does feel very unnatural to see a family in that environment, but needs must, and that's the reality of it. I do believe in positive contact. Can you imagine being ripped away from your family and then hardly ever seeing them? Yeah, that's a whole different vlog. But to be able to be given an opportunity where you can go and spend time with your family, I think it's really, really precious. Especially around Christmases and birthdays, they often do sort of like little parties in the contact centres, and I think that's always really, really nice. We've had times where we've had to do back and forth trips from contact centres because there's been so many presents. And that's another really good thing about contact, is it's quite often your only means of communication with the birth family. So they get a nice little update from us of what's been going on, and any questions that we have about the children, we can ask parents or family members. So I do like it for that sense. It gives them a chance to see us and understand where their children are and the type of people that their children are living with, and that's always quite a nice thing for me. Obviously, it's not always entirely positive for everybody. If you've ever heard any horror stories about contact, yeah, it does happen, but if you've got a good social worker, a good contact centre, everybody will support you in ensuring that it's a positive experience for everybody. I had a funny experience with a contact centre. It was my age, I believe, and every time I turned up, they'd be like, "Oh, who are you here to see?" As in, I was there to visit my children. And that really frustrated me at first. And I went to my social worker and I was like, "Why do they keep doing that to me? They don't respect me as a foster carer." So yeah, they can be quite a strange place, especially for you younger ones. But again, you might have a lovely contact centre who wouldn't dream of being so judgmental. But it is a strange environment. For me, contact is really positive. I remember our first experience of contact. The children got dropped off and I literally got given a postcode and said, "You've got to be there tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And I was like, okay, cool. Didn't know whether I had to bring nappies, didn't know whether I had to bring clothes, food, where I would go while they were there. Totally daunting, didn't have a clue, and you will probably feel like that. But once you've been there a few times, you'll get the gist of who feeds them, what goes down, generally what happens, the mood that the children will go in and come out in. You'll get a feel for it very, very quickly. You cannot hide from the effects of contact. Lots of people have a contact book, so instead of wasting time us having a conversation when you could be spending time with the children, you just write everything down in a book and then the parents will reply to it. During contact, that is quite common. I like to offer photographs and things like that during contact. That's always nice. Again, like I say, it's a means of communication and connection between us and the families. I remember my first contact when I first met my first birth family. And how do you know how they're going to react? Like, you just don't. You can't imagine the turmoil that they're going through, having had their children removed, and then they need to blame somebody. You are the face of it. You're the one who is now looking after their children. So you're deemed appropriate and they're not. Like, we were petrified, absolutely petrified. But I've never had a problem. The first time you meet a birth family, it might be pretty daunting, but as long as you all keep the children's best interests at heart, you'll be absolutely fine. I don't think there's much more to offer on contact, because it is a kind of do it, find your own experience. It will be different for everybody type of thing. Like I say, just remain positive. Children's behaviours will dip, peak, be all over the place around contact. Watch out for the signs, learn the triggers, and you will get to a point where you can work through it. if it's getting to the point where it's really affecting their behaviours and it's really traumatic for them, communicate it to your social worker, communicate it to the contact officer, and they will do something about it. If it means that it needs to be reduced, they will look at that as well. If it isn't something that is meeting the child's needs, and is the idea of contact is positive to maintain those relationships, maintain those bonds. If at any point it becomes a toxic or negative situation, voice your opinions. Everybody will work to make sure that that changes. So yeah, good luck if you're starting contact, you've got contact soon. If you're struggling with the effects of contact and things like that, send me a message, vent, moan, go to your social worker, ask for help, and yeah, let me know. Any comments down below, please do leave. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, whatever. Find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook. If you want to message me privately, obviously lots of the things we speak about are confidential. And yeah, I'm always happy to answer any of those questions. I hope this has helped to give you a little insight into what contact is all about and how much of a big part of fostering it is. A super, super big part. So yeah, thanks guys. See you later.